Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some very fun battles in the Open Ultra League featuring a pretty spicy combination of my newly built shiny GOODRA and Skeledirge. I was lucky enough to get a shiny Goomy during the Global Go Fest, and thanks to a rainy lure, I was finally able to evolve it. And for the moveset, I have to be running those nuke moves, so I'm running Power Whip and Sludge Wave to start, and then I decided that wasn't enough of a nuke move, so I took away Sludge Wave and I ran Draco Meteor. This is definitely a team for fun, not for climbing, but I did have a lot of fun with it. Hopping to the first match, picking up a pretty nice lead, GOODRA into Greninja. Greninja, of course, is extremely spammy, but the nice thing is, I resist Hydro Cannon due to the Dragon typing, so my opponent is going to be forced to go for Night Slash. Night Slash will connect opponent's safe switches into their own Skeledirge. Skeledirge is quickly becoming one of my favorite Pokemon to run in the Open Ultra League. This thing is an absolute blast. Most trainers are running the Disarming Voice and Shadow Ball moveset, and it looks like this trainer is as well. Personally, I do like to run Flamethrower. Flamethrower does allow Skeledirge to have a lot more convincing matchups versus some of the Steel types and a lot more closing power, but you do sacrifice coverage in some certain matchups. So I'm able to tank multiple Disarming Voices here. I go for the Crunch Undercharge, but I don't undercharge enough. In comes Greninja. Greninja firing off the charge move, and I decide to shield because I know that I can get shields back here. I'm very close to the back-to-back body slams. One body slam will not be lethal, but a second one absolutely will be. Greninja hits very hard, but in exchange, it is extremely glassy. I'm firing off the body slam. That gets shielded. In the back, they have a Shadow Charizard, and I'm able to make the last-second body slam. Now, this is awkward. My Skeledirge doesn't really have any good matchups remaining on their team, as Skeledirge either has to go up against a Shadow Charizard or a Greninja. So I'm going to send the Skeledirge in here. I'm able to tank the Blast Burn, and now I'm firing off Disarming Voice. This is resisted, but the Shadow Charizard is running out of HP. They're forced to commit the shield. I'm farming up with the Skeledirge, and at this point, I just let the Skeledirge go, and I'm going to be sending in GOODRA. GOODRA is going to look for the one shield farm down here, and I do have a move that I can throw at the Greninja. Dragon Claw gets the shield. In comes Greninja. I go for the Power Whip, but I end up losing CMP. My reaction time was not fast enough, and that's a bit unfortunate, as now I'm in a precarious health range. Power Whip will easily KO the Greninja here, and now the question is, can Charizard make it to a move? Yes, they can, so we're going to get the last second catch onto the Greedent, and with that catch, we secure the win, as Shiny GOODRA gets the farm down. Moving into the next match, leading GOODRA into Shadow Swampert. Now this is a bit of an interesting matchup. GOODRA, of course, does have access to Power Whip, which would easily one-shot, but unfortunately, since I'm only running new charge moves, it takes a while to get to any single move, and I end up shielding a bait. You absolutely hate to see it. I'm going to be firing off the Power Whip. They're going to commit the shield. Shadow Earthquake does a lot, so I decide to double shield here, and wouldn't you know it, but they bait again. You've got to be kidding me. I'm farming up. I go for a catch into Greedent, but my opponent shows great patience, and they answer Greedent with Shadow Machamp. Now, Greedent is an absolute beast with Mudshot. I'm able to land one Body Slam. I'm going for Body Slam number 2 here, and this Body Slam will come very close to KOing. They go for the Cross Chop. That does a lot of damage, but watch this. This is incredibly close to Greedent flipping the zeros here. Machamp gets the farm down. They leave with a small amount of HP that I can neutralize with the GOODRA. GOODRA firing off the Power Whip as in comes Swampert. Swampert, very low on health, will commit the shield. They're going to fire off the Earthquake here, and I've taken enough damage that Earthquake will be lethal. I have to hope that Skeledirge can do well in the back. It's a Alolan Muck, but they're running Snarl. You've got to be kidding me. This is not good at all, as Snarl Alolan Muck actually can give them a win con here. They have their second Dark Pulse. I just have to hope that I win CMP with the Disarming Voice, but I do not. Alolan Muck wins CMP. If it was Poison Jab, I just win the game, but they have Snarl Alolan Muck, and that's game over. Moving into the next match, leading GOODRA into Giratina. It's a Dragon Breath Giratina, and in these matches, I'm noticing a theme. I am never using Sludge Wave. So I'm thinking, you know what? It might be time for future battles to potentially adjust that. I'm going to farm up energy. Opponent tries to go for a crunch catch as they send in their own Greedent. So this will be very interesting here. We've got the battle of the Greedents. The switch timers are misaligned, so let's see if I can potentially take advantage of that. Body Slam is going to connect into the Greedent. I'm looking to overfarm, and in the battle of Greedents, you know there's going to be way too many Body Slams thrown, as Mudshot to Body Slam is just an absolutely absurd combination. I'm firing off yet another Body Slam. My opponent now at a pretty similar health range, and I'm going to save my Greedent for later and switch into the shiny GOODRA. Again, this is just such an amazing shiny. I'm so happy I was able to get one because, oh my goodness. GOODRA able to tank the Body Slam. In comes the Giratina. I make it to the Sludge Wave. I mean, Sludge Wave's going to be resisted here. Everything I throw is. But my opponent ends up shielding the Sludge Wave, worried about a potential Draco Meteor. So honestly, that kind of worked out in a strange way. Dragon Claw will connect. I'm going to be able to make it to the Crunch. Crunch, not going to KO here, but will get some very nice chip damage. And then I'm going to have to send in the Skeledirge to avoid being farmed down. The question is, can I incinerate all the way down with Skeledirge here? They're going to fire off the Dragon Claw. I'm looking to farm down with Skeledirge. Incinerate does not get the KO. They're able to make the charge move. I let it go. It's the Shadow Sneak. That does a lot of damage. Skeledirge gets the farm down. What do they have in the back? Wait. It's Registeel. Flamethrower is so good in this moment. Flamethrower will connect into the Registeel. I continue to farm with the Skeledirge, and I'm going for the Flamethrower before they can make it to a move. This should be lethal. Flamethrower gets the KO. Back in comes the Greedent, and now I have a clear path to victory. I go for the Disarming Voice, and then I immediately switch. They can't get two moves before I can make it to my Body Slam, and against all odds, we're somehow able to come away with the win. Hopping into the next match, and we see a nightmare lead. GOODRA into Tapu Fini, and this is a massive core breaker for the GOODRA and Skeledirge combination. The good news is I have Power Whip, but the bad news is Power Whip does not one-shot here. So I'm going to fire off the Power Whip into the Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini actually lets that go on the CMP tie, and I am going to respect the potential Moonblast. They end up baiting with the Surf. Definitely not ideal for me. I'm farming up with the GOODRA, going for the Power Whip, and again, it's a CMP tie. My opponent should be shielding here if they want to get this damage off, and they do. So I'm going to shield back. I still have a pretty healthy GOODRA. I'm not really going to be able to Dragon Breath farm down, but hopefully I can bank a bunch of energy and try and make a switch into Greedent. So I go for a switch into Greedent. My opponent does not throw their move, and they're now going to send in Gliscor. Gliscor, a bit of a problem spot for this team as well. Kind of just built this team to have fun, and then running it, I was like, oh boy, there's a lot of core breakers for this team. They're going to fire off the Earthquake. That does quite a lot of damage, and I'm going to return fire with the Body Slams. Body Slam spam, even though the Mudshots are doing nothing, is really starting to add up onto the Gliscor. Again, just looking to overfarm, constantly hiding how much energy I have, as it is pretty easy to lose count if you're going up against Greedent, and it ends up working. I'm able to make it to the Body Slam here. Body Slam into the Gliscor, gets the KO. They lose so much energy. Fini, speaking of energy, they have it banked, and they're firing off the Surf. Surf will get the KO. I'm looking for the farm down with the GOODRA. They make a move. This is only a Surf, though. Surf is not going to KO. What do they have in the back? I send in the Skeledirge, and it's a Charizard. You've got to be kidding me. And there's just no way to win this one, unfortunately. They need two moves to KO. So they are going to be going for the Dragon Claw first. And then the way they win this is just building up to a Blast Burn plus a Dragon Claw. They can KO the Skeledirge with a Blast Burn, and then they'll have the Dragon Claw to win CMP over the GOODRA. GOODRA does have a Sludge Wave banked, but unfortunately, as long as they play this well, and they have, I'm not going to get the opportunity to use it. Blast Burn will get the KO. GOODRA goes for the Sludge Wave, but loses CMP, as Charizard will get the knockout. We pick up a great lead in the next match, GOODRA into Shadow Ampharos. GOODRA, of course, resisting the Volt Switches. Opponent going to stay in for a little bit, and they're going to save switch into Poliwrath. And Poliwrath is a bit of an awkward Pokemon for this team to handle. I'm going to stay in with the GOODRA to start and shield up the Ice Punch, and I'm going to return fire with the Power Whip. Power Whip will hit them for super effective damage here. Power Whip will connect. I'm looking to farm up, and then right as they make it to the Ice Punch, I switch one turn before, so not only do I get the catch, but I get an entire Incinerate sneaking as well. This will allow me to outpace the Poliwrath, make it to the Disarming Voice, and if they don't shield here, which they do not, I'm able to get the KO. Back in comes that Shadow Ampharos. They're farming up quite a lot of energy, and I'm going for the Flamethrower. This is going to hurt. Flamethrower gets them deep into the red. Ampharos at the back-to-back moves, so there's not really a point in me shielding here. Brutal Swing will connect. I send in Greedent, and in the back, it's Scrafty, and this is actually bad. Oh my goodness. My Goodra's taken a lot of damage already in this match, and I just need to get as much chip damage as I possibly can with the Greedent. Meanwhile, the Scrafty is going to continue to buff up their attack more and more and more. I need to either get them into a range where I can Dragon Breath down with the Goodra, or grab the shield and then go for the Power Whip. But suddenly, things have taken a drastically negative turn in this match. Body Slam will connect. I'm going for another Body Slam here, and after this, I have to switch whether they shield or not. They let it go, so I have to commit to the farm down. Goodra looking for the farm down, and there I make a misplay. I shouldn't have thrown this move. I should have just committed to the farm down, because the move is going to allow them, after they throw their move, to switch into the Ampharos and snipe with a Brutal Swing. Just a brutal misplay there. I'm able to get the farm down with the Greedent, but I cannot make the Body Slam, and I lose the game. We're looking to end our losing streak, so I've switched out Sludge Wave for Draco Meteor. When in doubt, just add a bigger nuke move, and I pick up a pretty nice lead as I lead into Blastoise. Goodra is able to win the Zero Shield here. My opponent is going to let the Power Whip go, and I can tank the Ice Beam. Tried to go for a catch there. The catch doesn't end up working, but I can let this go. They actually bait with a Hydro Cannon, and now they're going to send in Charizard. I'm going to get a small amount of Dragon Breath damage, and hopefully that will be enough to put it into a range where 2 Body Slams will be lethal. And it looks like, yes, 2 Body Slams will be enough to KO now, which is quite nice. I'm not expecting them to bait, so I will shield the first, and I am rewarded by correctly shielding a Blast Burn. Shielding a Blast Burn helps Greedent a lot in this matchup, as Greedent has the pacing advantage, so actually shielding the nuke move now could potentially allow Greedent the opportunity to try and go for either switch advantage or shield advantage. I'm able to make it to the Body Slam. At this point, I had lost count. I just let it go. It has to be a Blast Burn to KO, and it's not a Blast Burn. It's the Dragon Claw. So I'm able to tank that. Body Slam will get the KO onto the Charizard. And now the question is, what are they going to be sending in here? They send in the Blastoise. I switch into the Goodra, trying to snipe it with the Dragon Breath. They make the Hydro Cannon with a fraction of HP, but I'm able to tank that. In the back, it's Venusaur. We just used the TM. Do they respect it? They do not. Venusaur gets absolutely nuked. In comes the Skeledirge, and unfortunately for the opponent, this will be game over. So Draco Meteor paying dividends already, and that's a good game. Moving into the next match, picking up a positive lead, Goodra into Ampharos. The Ampharos is actually staying in this matchup as well. They're just going to go for the Brutal Swing as soon as they get there. I can tank this very comfortably, so I'm going to let this through, and just look to farm up with the Goodra. Opponent safe switches into a Gliscor, and I'm going for it. Can we get back-to-back Draco Meteors? We cannot. The opponent shields. That is absolutely crushing. I was really hoping we got to see those back-to-back Dracos, but the opponent respects the damage from the shiny Goodra, and now I'm in a bit of an uncomfortable situation here. As I mentioned, I kind of just put this team together because I felt like it would be fun to run. The team has a lot of weaknesses, Gliscor definitely being one of them. They end up going for the Night Slash here. Night Slash not going to threaten the KO on the Greedent, and Greedent is just going to keep applying pressure with the Body Slam spam. More Body Slams, and more Body Slams, and more Body Slams. Body Slam will connect. Gliscor now extremely low. Gliscor will play to the CMP tie there. Very nice counting from my opponent. Night Slash will get the KO. I'm going to be sending in the Goodra, and Goodra gets the farm down. Do they send in Ampharos? No, they send in Golisopod. Golisopod farming up, and I'm going to let this through. If it's the Aerial Ace, I think I can live it, and it's the Aerial Ace, and I'm able to make the Power Whip. Okay, maybe this is possible here. Power Whip into the Golisopod, does get no shielded, and now I send in Skeledirge. Skeledirge farming up, and putting pressure onto the Golisopod. I'm shielding up the Liquidation. Liquidation would hit for super effective damage. Opponent will make the last second Liquidation, and I'm forced to double shield. And this is going to be tricky here, as Ampharos does have residual energy, so now I think I have to go for a bait here. I can't make 2 flamethrowers, but my opponent calls the bait, and that's game over. Oh my goodness, what a play by my opponent, recognizing the situation and understanding that I couldn't make 2 flamethrowers, so it was likely that I was going to bait. A beautiful read there by my opponent, and that's game over. Hopping into the final match, leading GOODRA into another Greninja. We started the video with the Greninja, and now we end the video with the Greninja. Opponent is going to save switch into Tentacruel. I'm staying in here, and at this point, I'm just throwing Draco Meteors. Draco Meteor will be shielded by the opponent, and I send in Greedent as they fire off the charge move. It is the Scald from the Tentacruel, but they don't get the debuff. A bit of good luck. I'm firing off the Body Slam here, and I'm just looking to apply as much pressure as I possibly can onto the Tentacruel. Tentacruel firing off another charge move. Again, the no shield from the Greedent. Greedent able to withstand that Scald, and again, we don't get debuffed. That is very, very nice. Body Slam into the Tentacruel will get them low, and Tentacruel gets Mud Shot down. Does the opponent, are they going to be sending in the Greninja here, or do we see the third? They're going to send in the Greninja. I'm farming up a ton of energy here with the Greedent. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of desync there. Tried my best to throw on as good of timing as I possibly can. And I'm firing off another Body Slam here. Body Slam will be getting that Greninja very low, so we see a shield. Greedent able to make it 2-1 final Body Slam, but the opponent saves the Greninja and makes a catch onto Galarian Weezing. And now it's time for Skeledirge. I'm going to be able to tank a Brutal Swing here, so I can let this go. No problem. I can live 1 Brutal Swing. The opponent is running Play Rough and Overheat. Oh boy, that is really unfortunate for my opponent. I fire off the Flamethrower. That does big damage into the Weezing. And now I'm going to be able to get the full farm down here. In comes Greninja. And I can just win the game with GOODRA at this point. They end up going for the Night Slash. That doesn't KO. And it looks like this game is Skeledirge's time to shine as Disarming Voice gets the KO onto Greninja. All in all, I had a ton of fun getting to run my shiny GOODRA. As I mentioned at the start, GOODRA is not a Pokemon that I'd recommend building if you're looking to climb. It's a Pokemon that I imagine will have a calm day at some point and could potentially get some help in the moveset department. Whether it got something like Breaking Swipe or Dragon Claw, giving it a true bait move instead of just Muddy Water, which is absolutely awful, would be a really welcome addition to GOODRA's moveset. But in the meantime, I'm probably still going to run it periodically because, man, that is one of the best shinies in the game. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.